I'm Laura Leiden, and I'm the state president for the Women's Council of Realtors, Georgia. And I am excited today to be here interviewing our gold partner, O'Kelly and SOROHAN, and Joe O'Kelly is here with us himself. Joe, would you like to tell us a little bit about your role of the company and what O'Kelly and SOROHAN has done to adapt during this unusual time?
That's interesting, the role of the company. I think more than anything, I would be probably the chief strategist or something like that, and the day-to-day problem solvers, the things that come up that really need some attention and adjustment, and it keeps me involved so I can take whatever I see and happen and readjust and make it a better experience for all the customers. What was the second part of that question?
Tell us a little bit about what O'Kelly and SOROHAN is doing to adapt to the sheltering in place and the social distancing and helping your clients still get the job done.
It's been a strange arc, and it's been fast, right? Initially it was a complete, oh my goodness, there was a lot of fear. We did a lot of structuring to where we had to sort of keep people from being fearful. Right, which meant everybody tries to do things and be clean and healthy and use common sense. I think that's the biggest thing. But on a day-to-day, we're trying to keep everybody healthy. We're trying to keep everything clean. We're trying to promote and continue to say, listen, social distancing doesn't go away. Nothing has changed really, right? Except we're just using better sense about it. And so we do that on a day-to-day. What's happening now, the arc has gone to where people want to start attending closings. So for a while, we were like, we want signers only, please. And that made everybody safe. Now people are feeling safe to come in, so we have to be careful. But at the same time, I totally understand it. It totally makes sense. And so we try to put in place where, okay, you got to constantly reinforce it. There's so much news out there now, it almost seems like the corona news is not really around, but it really is still there. And so we continually try to reinforce that to make sure everybody's still using common sense and is being smart. And then the other things that we're doing, we're trying to look at it progressively. What are some things that would be more helpful, right, in this environment? And so we're really changing and enhancing our user experience, right? And so one of the things we do would be you go to our website and you can use an e-check type system for earnest money, right? And so you literally have your checkbook or checking information, and all you have to do is have your routing number and your account number, and you can deposit earnest money. And then we'll want you to fill in names and then hopefully follow up with the contract pretty quickly. But that has really helped. So people are like, oh, I don't have to come in. And so it helps in all different scenarios with agents and with brokers. If they want to transfer earnest money over, it can come over like that as well. And then other things we're doing, we were trying to make a better seller experience. I'm not convinced that a portal is the way to go. We're more of, let me send you something to fill out and it'll infiltrate back into our system, right? And that seems to have come across better than using the portal idea, because the portal idea requires so much passwords, so much, a lot of effort compared to something that is similar to an email that you would fill out, still secure, still comes through, but we're trying to make everything a good user experience and to get people where they don't have as much of a requirement. It's more like just what's a natural flow. That's how we're doing it. But that's a little bit different from how we're doing as far as adjusting. Those are just enhancements that we're making overall. Right. So
you mean like jot forms, so they could just, when they get it in the email, they can just fill it out there and then just send it back to you? Is that kind of what you're?
And it's not an email, it's actually a system, but it comes across, it's just more like, do you have any mortgages? And if you say no, it jumps you further into the system. So it's an interactive kind of transaction. We need your name. Are you married? If so, and then you put down the names, different things like that.
Okay.
And so it just is very interactive, very simple to use. It's real common sense, but it would be like answering an email that kept asking you a few questions, and then pretty soon you're done, as opposed to filling out some form or going into a portal and tracking it down.
Well, and trying to remember the password for that particular portal. That's
and all the
always a
emails.
challenge.
And I
Yeah.
saw all that happening. We tested it, and I'm like, this won't be fun
Well, it
for
isn't
agents.
fun. So I'm glad you've got another solution. And I know you mentioned about not going into the office for the closings. I've had a couple of closings at your Athens office, and I go ahead and sit in the parking lot in case anybody has any questions for me. But I stay outside, and I'm available, but outside. So
And I
it's
think that
kind of,
has been good, but some people just want to come in and we're like, okay, some people Zoom in, so we'll just set up a Zoom right there and say, okay, here, we're, we have to adjust and we can't set the rules, but we have to not just open it wide up, right?
right.
And so we have to adjust, we have to talk to people, we do a lot of communication, and we do whatever makes sense in that system. So
Do you think they'll still keep allowing Zoom closings? Isn't it like till June 12th or something? You think they're going to extend that?
we believe it's going through June 30th. And
Okay.
so, but right now it's just to June 12th. But I think I read something where it might go through June 30th. But again, it's dying down, right? That news cycle is almost, people get sort of adjust and they don't want to continue. Now, some people definitely still want to continue. We had one where we had 5 people in there and they all had masks, and that's good. And we will do that. And then other people, they're like, no, I don't want a mask. Do you want me to wear one? And we're like, no, but you have to stay at the other end of the table.
Well, good luck with all that.
Well, thank you.
I'm hoping that Zoom is really handy. I have a client who's very, very ill with cancer, and that is a bigger opportunity for him to not have to go anywhere or be in, just to go
Sure.
anywhere. So it'll be interesting to see if
The
this has
Zoom,
opened a whole new way of doing some things that will stay with us.
the Zoom transaction is not really the ideal transaction.
Okay.
Eventually, right, when you have the ability to do, they have to pass the law, but when you have the ability to do remote online notarization,
Okay.
and then that's the first step, the counties have to take those documents and record them. Once you have that, then you will eventually, sooner than later, be able to do e-closings. And so the leap is to e-closings. A Zoom closing appears like an e-closing, but it's not. You couldn't do it back to back with a Zoom closing because I have to get those documents back and witness and notarize them. So it's a little like it. It's remote closing, right? It's a remote in-person closing, notarization type system. And so you couldn't do it back to back, but if you have the next leap, the one that we're really excited about is when you can do e-closings in total, right? And then you could do it back to back at that point with one e-closing, and then somebody else walks in the office and uses the money from one for the other. And that's really, and I think when that comes, that you'll see, I don't think you'll see 100% usage at all. I think it'll be about 30%. I've done a lot of research on it, and we're excited about it. But at the same time, people like to come in. They're buying a house. I mean, it's the first-time home buyer. They're not used to it.
Physical happening. Yes.
Exactly.
I understand that. I also understand the value of the other, especially for an out-of-state buyer or seller. So that'll be great. So tell me a little bit about your involvement with Women's Council. We so much appreciate you becoming a gold partner this year. Tell us a little bit about the value that you see with Women's Council for O'Kelly and SOROHAN, and just for the real estate industry on the whole.
I think, I'm a big believer in Women's Council. 20 years ago, when I started in the business, I wanted to meet people and try to figure out how to stay involved and get involved. And I started taking tickets. I said, this is a good way to meet some people. And I started taking tickets or putting out tickets in the front and signing people in. And then eventually I became a member where I did classes, and I would always go to the meetings. And it's a great environment. And then we started sponsoring, and so that was 20 years ago, right? And it's a good way for lawyers and vendors, right, to be involved and to be helpful and to sponsor and give back as well as meet people. And so since then, over time, we have different young lawyers that come in and they participate. I think our Catherine Oates, she's been very involved, president of Field of the Year, governing board, and that's of the Gwinnett WCR. Then we have Lindsay Rogers. This last year, she was affiliate of the year for the Cobb WCR, and she does a lot of classes there. So does Catherine. We even hold the governing board for WCR Gwinnett in our offices, so because we got a big conference room. Nicole Pettis, a couple years ago, was a treasurer of the Atlanta Women's Council, and Jessica Tripp attends the DeKalb Women's Council, and then of course Bobby, Lindsay, we go to this Women's Council here because it's close to us.
Sure.
And you know, sponsoring is a way of us saying thank you for having us. We want to be involved and we want to be helpful. And I think it's a great organization. Always has been, ever since like the first week I got involved. So,
well, we certainly appreciate your local sponsorship with Gwinnett and also your state sponsorship and your support and your professional direction that you're going in. That sounds really great. Did you have any parting positive words you'd like to share with realtors right now?
I mean, it's, to me, I'm watching it and I've been watching it, and it seems Georgia is ahead of the nation and it's stronger, better, faster, quicker. The way that the trend lines go and what's happening, let's say it's supposed to be down 20%, Georgia seems to be down less than other parts of the country. And we see it in our transactions. I'm like, our state does better. And so, and it's only getting stronger. I think actually for closings, May was going to be our slowest because April was the slowest for realtors. And so I do a lot of research, but I also see it on the ground. The trend is going up, right? And it's going up a little bit faster than other parts of the country. And it's very encouraging to see. Whoever's out there doing whatever they're doing a great job. And we really appreciate everything that, you know, when people come in and use us for service or anything like that. So.
Well, one thing's for sure, in this state, we can't get it done without you.
Well,
so we really appreciate all that you do to make the realtor's life and especially our clients' life easier and the transaction of closing smoother. And thank you again for your partnership with Women's Council.
Well, thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
You have a great day.
You too. Bye now.
Bye-bye.